morning, ladies. Namaste. So, how's everyone doing this morning? Anything particular that anybody wants to work on? Any specific areas of the body or the mind? The mind, all of it? Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's begin. Just closing the eyes and dropping inwards. Letting yourself arrive here and now. Obviously, you are physically present here. And allow yourself to become more mentally and emotionally present here. Whatever the events of your day have been to this point, just let that go. And likewise, anything that you have planned or anything that you're expecting for later on in your day, let that go for now as well. Relaxing the facial muscles and the jaw. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. And allow your belly to relax as you allow your breath to deepen, sending the inhalation down deeper into the lungs. And imagining that breath were able to inflate the belly. So see if you can envision and maybe even feel breathing behind the belly button, allowing your abdomen to expand with incoming breath. Conscious of how that breath moves into the body. And then the exhalation, likewise, coming from the belly, you can even engage the abdominal muscles lightly and draw the belly inwards to help squeeze some of that used air back out once again. It's just a light contraction. It's not a forceful thing. And allowing yourself to establish a slow, steady rhythm to the breath. Inhaling and allowing the inhalation to move right into an exhalation. And allowing the exhalation to be immediately followed by the inhalation. Imagine waves gently advancing and receding on a beach. The wave comes in, and the wave goes back out. And allowing there to be a fullness to the breath, but also a gentleness. We want to begin to expand the lungs a little bit more than we do in our everyday waking breath, but not doing it any kind of a forceful or effortful way. Continuing to let the inhalation expand the belly, and then allowing the inhalation to build upwards a bit so that the rib cage expands, expanding out to the sides and even into the back. And then letting your breath come all the way up into the chest and underneath the collarbones. Breathing in and breathing out. The inhalations helping to draw our attention, our focus inwards. The exhalations helping to let go of external distractions. As we begin to observe the workings of the mind, where is your attention tending to turn this morning? Likewise, observing any emotional content to your experience. Emotions show up as subtle tensions, contractions, expansions within the body. So, scanning your awareness through your body now, notice if there are any particular places of discomfort or holding. And allowing your breath to expand into those places. Each exhalation, an opportunity to let go of anything you've been hanging on to. Often we have experiences that can be a little overwhelming or a little intense. And in that moment, we choose not to fully experience the intensity. And that can get stored in our musculature or in our internal organs as tension, stress, and unresolved emotion. So now is our opportunity to take inventory of any such holdings that may be coming to the surface of your awareness right now. Having the intention of staying present with the breath, letting go of that which is moving out, and embracing that which is coming in. Let yourself be right here, right now, undistracted by the antics of the mind, being fully present with the physical sensations in the body. Feel yourself resting down against the floor, knowing that the floor connected to the building, connected to the earth, and thereby helping to ground us. In your mind's eye, imagine the earth pressing up to support you. Feel where different parts of your body rest against each other. And feel where your clothing contacts your skin. And feel how the breath caresses the skin at the tip of the nose and flowing down the back of the throat. Observing the cool, dry nature of the inflowing air and the moist, warm quality of the outflowing air. And directing your breath a little bit more against the back of the throat by partially closing the glottis, as if you were fogging up a mirror. Notice the sound that the breath makes as it moves in and out. It's called the ocean sounding breath. and allow that sound to draw you deeper inwards. And now, creating an intention for yourself for our time together this morning. Perhaps there's something that physical that you would like to let go of. Some holding, some tension, discomfort, pain. You can make that your intention. Perhaps you've noticed some unpleasant reactions you've had to circumstances, certain people. You can make it your intention to let go of any negativity. Perhaps you've been grappling with a personal issue. Perhaps you can have the intention of seeking clarity on that particular issue. And just hold that intention in mind. And then we'll take a nice deep breath in and exhale with the sound of Om. Inhaling together. Sacred sound of Om, helping to empower your intention. Now inhaling and pressing up through the crown of the head. And exhaling, let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder gently. Let the right shoulder fall towards the floor. And actively pressing down through the left elbow. Feel that stretch between the left ear and the left shoulder. And gently bringing a little bit of forward and back movement into the head. Experiencing the stretch along the left side of the neck. And perhaps noticing some compression along the right side of the neck. And then inhaling and allowing the head to drift back up to center. The left ear falling towards the left shoulder towards the ground. Right elbow pressing lightly down. And again, bringing space between left ear and the top of the left shoulder. And a little bit of slow, gentle movement of the head forward and back, helping you to explore how that stretch is showing up in the muscles along the side of the neck. As you tilt the head back, you might feel more of a stretch going towards the collarbone. As you tilt your head forwards, you might feel more of a stretch going down towards the shoulder blade. Now inhale, bring the head back up to center. And one more time, right ear falls towards right shoulder. But from there, we roll the head forwards, chin dropping over throat. And then left ear over left shoulder. And once again, chin drops over throat. Bringing the head up to the left. And just going back and forth now, side to side. Making a little half circle with the head. Feeling the stretch in the back of the neck. Going up towards the base of the skull. Such common areas for us to hold tension, especially when we are experiencing temporal stress. In other words, being on a deadline, not feeling there's enough time to get everything done, feeling our responsibilities perhaps weighing on our shoulders, all very common experiences. And those have a way of tightening up our shoulders. And then we walk around with unconscious layers of tightness that we put there. So this is the opportunity in our class now to let go of any of these unconscious layers of holding that you may encounter. And then drop the chin over the throat. Exhale the breath out. Inhaling, we'll float the palms of the hands up to the back of the head, interlacing the fingers, and just resting the palms on the back of the head, letting the elbows fall in towards each other. Keeping the chin tucked a lot. Feel that additional stretch there in the back of the neck and around the base of the skull, the occiput. Now, inhaling, we lift the head, turning the face up towards the ceiling and pressing the elbows back. Opening the throat and the chest. Nice big breath in. And then exhaling and gradually rounding forwards now. We press the elbows closed. We send all the breath out. And then once again, inhale and lift and arch. And let yourself go back and forth at a comfortable pace that matches your breathing. Nice, full, deep breaths as you feel your spine starting to loosen up. Each time you roll forwards, maybe coming a little bit further. Each time you arch, maybe opening the chest a little bit more. Press those elbows back. And go back and forth 2 more times, matching movement and breath. And in this movement, notice the complementary nature of movement and breath. Lifting and arching the chest and the lungs open. And coming back up to center, we'll interlace the fingers, or keep the fingers interlaced, and begin to extend the arms. Turn the head to look at the upstretched arms. Lifting through the heel of the right hand. Lifting through the heel of the left hand. Feel a stretch in fingers, palms, wrists, forearms. And then bringing the chin level once again. We'll begin to arch the body lightly over to the right, letting the weight settle into the right buttock as we press up and across with the heel of the left hand. And feel that stretch where it shows up, perhaps in the underarm, the side of the rib cage, maybe even down towards the hip. And breathe into it. As you inhale, you lift a little bit out. As you exhale, perhaps settling into the stretch a little bit more deeply. And then inhale up to center, and we'll repeat on the other side. And notice, is this side more or less tight? More or less sensation? We tend to think of our bodies as symmetrical. And they are in a gross level. But the way that we use each side of the body is very different. And that can lead to a lot of different aspects of sensation and movement on either side. Riding the breath and beginning to explore coming up against your edge in a stretch. A point at which the movement begins to be restricted, or perhaps the sensations become too intense. And we back off of that limit And then we gently ease back into it. And we may find that that boundary or that limitation moves a little bit away from us. And now inhale, bring it back up to center. And we'll release the hands and drop the fingertips to the top of the shoulders now. Just for a moment, feel the change in circulation in the hands from having them up overhead. Now, making some small circles in the air with the points of the elbows. Smaller circle at first, gradually spiraling outwards, getting larger. And as you do so, bringing in awareness, of course, the moving arms, the lifting and lowering of the shoulder blades, and the collarbones. See if you can bring more movement into the collarbones and notice how that affects the range of movement of your circling elbows. And breathe. Again, with the shoulders being a major repository for stress. Imagine breathing in more spaciousness and breathing out any tightness, discomfort. Feel more freedom of movement, more spaciousness coming into the shoulders. Circle the elbows around the other way if you haven't already. And then slowing the movement and gradually straightening the arms, extending the arms out to the sides at shoulder height. Just take a look for a moment and see where the arm is in space. We want the back of the hand to be level with the top of the shoulders and the shoulders to be relaxed. Take a breath in, lifting through the crown of the head, and then we'll revolve around the spinal column, turning to the right. Right arm wraps around behind the back as the left hand reaches over to the opposite knee. And breathe and feel. Relaxing into the twist, not trying to go further, not straining or striving for the experience to be anything different than it is. Let your breath fill that right lung a little bit more. And again, drink in the various sensations. Now inhale and hold the breath momentarily. And then as you release the breath, release the twist, and allow your body to sort of naturally return back to face forwards. And again, check in with the physical sensations and notice the difference one side to the other. And then we'll repeat in the other direction. So the arms once again come out to shoulder height, back of the hand, level with the top of the shoulder. It's helpful for us to look and see where that arm is in space to sort of realign what's called our proprioception. the central nervous system's concept of where the body is in space and where parts are in relation to each other. Inhale, lift through the crown of the head, and then exhale and rotate around to the left now. Left arm around behind the back, right hand to left knee. And again, breathe. Feel the openness in the left side of the chest and the left lung. Perhaps feeling little clicks or pops as your spine releases. On the inhalation, we focus a bit more on lifting through the crown of the head. And on the exhalation, we focus a little more on the rotation. One sign that you may be striving a little too much is if the muscles on the sides of the neck tighten up. So if you find that to be the case, relax. Come a little bit out of the stretch. Inhale, take a nice deep breath. And then exhaling and slowly allowing yourself to turn back to face forwards. And again, notice the difference between one side of the body and the other. Probably a bit more even than when we checked in a moment ago. And then slowly beginning to extend the legs. And just rocking your legs a little bit from side to side. Now we'll widen the stance of the legs, pressing out through the heels. Bringing the hands down in front of us and sort of shifting the weight more towards the front of your sitting bones and a little bit back off the tailbone. Take a breath in and out. And then inhale, reach your arms forwards and up overhead. Let that action help you to lengthen the torso up out of the waist, as well as the arms lifting up out of the shoulders. Take a breath in. Exhale, come forwards just a little bit. And notice the action that occurs in the back of the legs, the lower back. And then come a little bit further forwards. Perhaps noticing an increase in sensation. And then as you exhale, fold forwards the rest of the way, letting your hands come down, palms on the floor, and then just let the head relax. And maybe walking your fingers a little bit forwards, drawing yourself a bit more into the stretch. And for a little more intensity in the legs, you can press down through the back of the knees, press out through the heels, draw the toes back towards the head. As you inhale, come up just a little bit. And as you exhale, settle more into the stretch. And working with the breath, and working with your edge, playing with that edge. We don't want to force up against it because the body will only resist that much more. But if we ease off a little bit Take a breath in and then exhale and relax, letting gravity move us a little bit closer towards that edge. You'll find the edge maybe moves a little bit further away. And it's often the case that when we go into a pose and the physical sensations begin to intensify, the mind can become active with commentary. Notice if that's the case. If it is, just redirect your breath back to the moment, back to your physical sensations. Now, we'll walk the hands in, slowly bring the torso back upright. Relax the legs. Now, we'll bend the left knee and bring the left heel into the pubic bone. We're going to reach the arms out to the sides, shoulder height, shoulder level, and then we're going to rotate so that the nose is kind of pointing out over that left knee, and the arms are parallel to the right leg. Now we're going to drop the right arm down, palm up, inside of the right knee. The left arm comes up next to the left ear with the palm facing to the right. Lengthen up through that arm, and then as you exhale, slide the right arm along the inside of the right leg, keeping the left shoulder rolled back. You can even look up at your bicep and breathe into this stretch. Even though it's a side stretch, it's marvelous for the lower back. This gets into one of the major muscle groups of the lower back, the quadratus lumborum, or sometimes called the hip hiker muscles. Breathe, and again, work your edge. Breathe, relax, and let go. And on the next inhalation, we'll sweep that left arm up and allow it to draw the torso back up to center. And then we'll extend that left leg and repeat those movements on the opposite side. So now the right heel bends in to bring the heel into the pubic bone. And then we'll bring the arms out to the sides, lifting through the crown of the head. Breathe in. And we rotate slightly so the nose is pointed out over the right leg. And then we bring the left hand, palm up, inside the left knee. The right arm now coming up against the right ear, palm facing to the left. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly moving the left arm down along the inside of the left leg, reaching through the right fingertips, turning the head to look at the arm, taking deep breaths into wherever the stretch is showing up. And then inhale and bring yourself back up to center. Relax the arms. And now we'll bend the left knee and bring the soles of the feet together. Bring the heels in towards the pubic bone, bringing the fingers around the toes, maybe even walking the buttocks a little closer towards the feet. Engaging the muscles on the outside of the legs and drawing your knees down towards the floor. Breathe deeply. Feel that stretch in the inner thighs. And now imagining a thread that was attached to your breastbone, lifting up. So the front of the torso rises a little bit as we continue to press down through the outer knees. Inhale. And as you exhale now, imagine lifting the belly up and out over the feet as we come forwards just a little bit to begin with. And again, notice that enhanced sensation in the inner thighs. And breathe. And little by little, if it's appropriate for your body, moving deeper into the stretch. But wherever you're at, stay conscious of sensation and breath, working with that edge. And as I mentioned a moment ago, as sensations build, we often get triggered with either thoughts or emotions, fear commonly. But just see if you can observe those emotions, those thoughts, without reacting, as you stay present in the experience of the stretch and the breath. Inhale, bring yourself back up to center. We'll take the hands, bringing the palms to the outer knees, and gently press the knees closed, and then extend the legs one at a time. And just rocking the legs from side to side as we did a moment ago, notice how that feels. Okay, and from here we're going to come onto our hands and knees in a table position. So hands right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, begin to round your spine, pressing middle back up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly. And now going back and forth. Inhaling, lift and arch. Exhaling, round. And going back and forth. Limbering up the spine. Go one more time in each direction. Come back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we're going to press buttocks back to heels. Dropping the forehead, dropping the chest, and walking the fingers forwards.
Notice as you drop the chest, a little bit more of a stretch there in the underarms. Relax the head. Perhaps forehead comes to floor. No problem if it doesn't. Now with your next inhalation, we begin to shift the torso forwards, bringing the chest through the shoulder, through the arms, dropping the pelvis. Once again, turning the look up at the ceiling. Keep the elbows just slightly bent, pressing down through not just the heels of the hands, but the base of the fingers as well. Take a few deep breaths here. Breathe in, breathe out, buttocks to heels. And now moving back and forth between these two positions at whatever pace feels appropriate for you. Feel the movement in the hips, the knees, the shoulders, the wrists, and a gentle wave-like action in the spine, going back and forth from flexion to extension. Go back and forth one more time. And then we'll come back to our center position. And from here, we'll go ahead and we'll slide the left knee forwards between the hands and bring the right foot out towards the left. And just take a moment to kind of shift your pelvis back and forth a little bit. And intentionally pressing that right hip towards the right heel so the pelvis is more or less level or parallel to the floor. Then we'll walk our hands forwards. And just take a moment to breathe and relax. And now beginning to walk your hands in and bring them on either side of your knee. Pressing down through the fingertips and then pressing the elbows towards the sides. Lift the torso up.
Very easy version of Kapotasana, the pigeon pose, one of my favorites. You'll most likely feel a stretch going down the front of the right hip. It's a great stretch for the psoas muscle. And then releasing back down onto the palms. And we'll send that left leg back and extend the leg out, straight out, back behind you. Shift your weight into the right palm, and we'll extend the left arm forwards. Do I have that right? No. Whichever leg we extended, we want the opposite arm. I got lost there. Now, release the hand, release the knee back down. And then slide the right knee forwards. And we'll lengthen out through the left leg as the right heel comes over towards the left hip. And we walk the arms forwards. And just lower the weight down into that right thigh, gently rocking yourself a little bit forwards and back. Letting your weight help to open up those deeper hip muscles. And then we'll walk the hands in, either side of the knee, and we'll tent the hands, coming up on the fingertips, lifting the palms. Drop the shoulders and tuck the elbows close against the sides of the body. There's a little bit of energy in the left buttock, pressing that left hip forwards. And again, breathe down into the front of that left hip. The psoas muscle goes from deep in the belly all the way down to the inside of the thigh. It's a muscle that's very, very often involved in lower back tension and discomfort. And then we'll bring the hands down and extend that right leg back and reach the left arm forwards, gazing at those fingers, pressing the left fingers and right toes in opposite directions. Breathe, engage your abdominal muscles, and imagine the upper body reaching up from the belly button. The lower body reaching down from the belly button. And then exhale, release arm and leg, and press the buttocks back, widening the space between the thighs a little bit. See if you can let your belly drop into that space as you wrap the arms back around next to the feet. Let the forehead come down on the floor in child pose. Couple of deep breaths. Relax. See if you can direct your inhalation into the lower back. Feeling it expand with the incoming breath.
And then bring the hands around, using your hands to press your torso back upright. Seated on the heels. We'll bring the thighs close together once again. Sitting up nice and tall, we reach the arms forwards and make a big circle around the body and let the hands come together behind you, interlacing the fingers. And then pressing your knuckles down and away. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale now, begin to bring your torso forwards, leading with your chin and your chest. As the arms rise up over the back, see if you can bring your forehead to the floor, or as close as you can. This is seated yoga mudra pose, where we place the head lower than the heart in a symbolic gesture of letting go of the mind in favor of the divinity of the heart. If you have your forehead on the floor, you might like to lift the buttocks away from the heels and roll up onto the crown of the head, noticing that the arms can drop a little bit further forward from here. And now exhale, and slowly we lower the buttocks. And imagine someone had a hold of your arms by the wrists and was lifting you back upright. Torso coming up, and as the hands come down by the buttocks, let them separate. And just let the hands glide back around as you feel the sensations in the palms and the forearms and the shoulders. Notice any effect on the mind. Postures where we place the head lower than the heart tend to quiet the chatter of the mind. Now, we'll extend the legs out in front. And if you have a bolster or a cushion or a blanket, we want to sort of chalk the buttocks here, just sitting on the edge, so the weight shifts towards the front of the sitting bones and the pubic bone. Hands now are down on either side of the thighs. Breathe out. Then we inhale and we bring the arms up to either side of the ears. Lengthen up through the fingertips. Take a breath in. And as you exhale now, we begin to come forwards, trying to keep the back as straight as possible. Arms right next to the ears as long as you can. And then release the arms, bringing the hands down to the toes or the shins or the ankles. And as you inhale, pressing through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine. As you exhale, let your face fall more towards the top of, or the front of the legs. Breathe. And again, one of those poses that if we take the time, we take a few deep breaths, you'll find that you're able to move slowly deeper into the pose as the limitations in the body begin to melt. And by continuing to breathe and relax, patterns of emotional holding
and begin to dissolve as well. And then release the hands and walk the palms up the front of the legs. And bring the torso back upright. Take a moment to feel various sensations that come up when we let go of that forward bend, Paschimottanasana. Now, we're going to bend the right knee and bring the sole of the foot to the inside of that right, or next to the left thigh. And we'll bring the left hand onto the outer knee. Good. And reaching the right arm out at shoulder height. See if you can level the shoulders, lift through the crown of the head, take a nice deep breath in. And now as we exhale, we'll reach that arm around and back behind. Heel of the hand coming onto the floor near the base of the spine. And a gentle press there, you'll notice that it helps to lift and lengthen the spine. And then we can wrap that left arm around that knee a little tighter. Gently look over the right shoulder. And breathe. Again, using the breath, inhaling to lift and lengthen, and an exhalation helping with rotation. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift the arm up behind you. And exhale, sweep it back along the horizon. And release the leg. And again, notice that asymmetry in the body. And then we'll press out through the right heel, bend the left knee, stepping it to the outside of the right leg. And now right hand to the outer left knee. Reach the arm forwards. Take a breath in. And then exhale.